Hello, today is December 3rd, and it's Saturday, 2022. I am here to release a word that the Lord gave me this morning. However, He started last night and He finished during my one-on-one time and prayer time last night before bed. He spoke the name Hannah. So this morning, he led me to 1 Samuel chapter 1 and chapter 2. And this is in regards to Hannah praying to the Lord and, for her promise. And to be able to bear children. Also about Peninnah. Hannah and Peninnah were both the wives of, I always get his name, I can't pronounce it. It's like Elkanah. So they both were the wives of, we're going to call him El. But he loved Hannah as well. However, Peninnah at the time was the only one that could bear children. So in chapter 1, you even see at verse 3, it starts at verse 3. It says, "This man went up from his city yearly to worship and sacrifice to the Lord of hosts in Shiloh." Also, the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. And whenever the time came for El to make an offering, he would give portions to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah, he would give a double portion, for he loved Hannah, although the Lord had closed her womb. So the Lord had brought me to that part and just spoke to me and basically said that, before he had even released the promise to Hannah of allowing her to bear a child or to bear children, he was still blessing her with double portions. Hannah was still receiving blessings during that wait period of waiting for her promise to come. And then it goes to, in verse 6, it says, "And her rival also provoked her severely to make her miserable because the Lord had closed her womb. So it was year by year when she went up to the house of the Lord that she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat." Speaking of Hannah weeping due to Peninnah, basically trying to shame her for being unable to bear children. And he brought me back to, in my notes, how so many people, after you have spoken to them that the Lord is doing a thing in your life, you have prophesied to them, you have even given them warnings. They've made fun of you, tried to call you a fool. Many of them cut you off, stopped talking to you, felt as though that you were getting too deep and too heavy within the Lord. And he had just brought me to this part of how Peninnah made fun of Hannah. So I got more that I'm gonna release to that. Trying to go with the flow. I took some notes. And at no time do you read that, regardless of how Peninnah spoke or mistreated Hannah and made fun of her, you never hear how, or never read how Hannah retaliated or spoke negatively towards Peninnah at all. So he gave me the word pungent. And, when I first thought of the word pungent, I thought of something of like a foul smell, or a foul smell, or like an odor, or like something that is like a strong lingering smell. However, the Lord had me go look at the definition of pungent, and there are two. So one is having a sharply strong taste or smell. The second is of comment, criticism, or humor, having a sharp and caustic quality. So he pointed out and highlighted the second one that I just read that says of comment, criticism, or humor. So although Penina made fun of and tried to shame Hannah for not being able to bear children like her at that time, Hannah never once through those, she never retaliated with that same behavior that Penina showed to her. So the Lord had spoke to me and just basically said that, we know what's coming. We know what the Lord has spoken to us. However, we are, as his children, we are not to carry ourselves in the same manner that others are afflicting to us. So that's where he brought pungent in, and he said, and I've had to catch myself, and the Lord has corrected me. I've had to repent, because we are human and we get above ourselves sometimes when we think of how people have treated us, and we're like, I'm sure plenty of people have thought, well, of course you say, well, I'm not going to even touch the situation. I just pray that the Lord will allow me, I've said it before, allow me to witness what he does to someone. We're not even supposed to think like that. Just continue to look at it as may the Lord's will be done. And whatever his will is for that person, it will be for that person. You don't have to, say negative comments. You don't have to throw out criticism or even humor. We are to be humorous. We can be humorous. However, it's to a certain extent. So Hannah could have, once she received her promise, Hannah could have, threw it back in Penina's face like, not only did the Lord bless me with this one son, he blessed me with, I think she had 3 more sons and 2 more daughters. So that behavior we're not supposed to display or exhibit. We're not supposed to boast. In all situations, we are to honor God, and how we receive our blessings, we are to honor him as well. So that's what he gave me for that part. And, as Hannah, when she was weeping, she had then went up and, began praying and, just basically allowing it to just flow from her heart to the point where Eli had walked in and asked her, like, he accused her of being drunk. Seeing like the behavior and like just seeing how Hannah was, like, she was just so caught up in her prayer, and she was having an intimate prayer it was an intimate session between her and the Lord, and he accused her of even being drunk, and she explained to him that that's not the case. I'm just simply right here weeping and praying. I'm just petitioning, like asking the Lord for this thing. I'm asking him, to step into my life and, answer my prayers. Allow me to, but she didn't go too far in depth, but, she was just praying to the Lord, asking him, you know, for this promise, and giving him a promise as well. Hannah made a promise unto the Lord that if he blessed her with this son, that she would return him back into the Lord. She would give him right on back to where he would worship the Lord. So Hannah also had a promise to the Lord. The same way that all of us, whenever we pick up that cross and understand the calling, we hear the calling, that, you know, it's bigger than us. Hannah becoming with child and being able to bear a son, it was bigger than her. Hannah wanted the Lord to get the glory throughout that whole pregnancy, throughout that whole child's life. She wanted the Lord to get the glory. So, which is the same for you and I when we pick up that cross and we accept what the Lord has called upon us to do, no matter if it's standing for a spouse, standing for family members, whatever he asks you to do. You have to understand that take self out of it. It's bigger than you. It's about the Lord getting the glory. So that was Hannah's promise, which when the Lord gives us a promise and when he places something on our lives, we are giving him a promise too. We're vowing to the Lord to follow through and make sure that what he is placing upon us to do, we are going out with those, and the intention is to save souls. It is to preach the gospel, to spread his word, and to always ensure that the Lord gets the glory. So Hannah's promise came with her giving a promise as well. It was attached to it. So, you know, then Hannah becomes with child. She then has Samuel, and like I said, at that time she could have easily, you know, went to Penina and, you know, spoken negatively towards her, thrown it in her face, like, you know, you may have once, you know, mocked me and spoken negatively towards me, but, you know, look, I showed you, didn't I? I have a child now too. So that wasn't the case with Hannah. Hannah picked that cross up. Hannah stuck by her word. Hannah made sure that she glorified the Lord throughout everything that she done, even as far as taking care of Samuel before even taking him back, taking him up there and returning him unto the Lord. She even cared for Samuel. So where else? And then chapter 2 goes into Hannah's prayer, but the Lord has just told me to read some of my notes. Yeah, he said to remain loyal to him. Yes, remain loyal to him. Hannah's promise, not only did she receive her son, but she was blessed with more. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I did not even see that. Okay, hold on. All right, I think I got it. If not, I'll just hold y'all. I don't know what's going on with me. Hold on. I think y'all are with me. If not, I'll hold y'all like this with one hand, but it looks secure. I don't know. Wasn't expecting that. The enemy trying to come in and mess us up, but guess what? The Holy Spirit is all up in here. My face is itching and all. So, yes. So the Lord not only blessed Hannah with, you know, one child, She later became pregnant, and she bared 3 boys, 3 sons, and 2 girls. And so he just kept speaking to me that when you receive that promise, that blessing that he has spoken to you, you're not only going to receive that, there will be more that's attached to that. Just like with the testimony of my son, and it may not all come at once. It may come back to back, or, however the Lord has it, however he intends for it to be, that's how it's going to be. So, then he says, trust in him, you'll receive so much more. To be patient. Hannah was patient. It had to be hard for her to sit there and see her husband even interact with Peninnah's children, and knowing that, yeah, he's blessing me with double. However, I'm just still unable to bear children. And back then, that was huge for them. It's even huge for us now. That's something that, I know many of women look forward to doing. So the Lord just spoke to be patient. And although, you've been ridiculed and you've been mistreated, and, you've had the worst done to you. Just like Hannah, Peninnah, mistreated her. I'm sure plenty of times Hannah just felt worthless. She didn't feel as though, anything would ever change. However, she stood. Hannah stood. She stood in prayer. She believed. She knew that the Lord had something on the other side for her, on the other side of her obedience, on the other side of her petitioning, on the other side of her just ignoring what Peninnah was trying to speak. The enemy was using Peninnah. Peninnah was the enemy. And Hannah continued to stand. Hannah stood. She understood. She knew that the Lord would not fail her. So, that's that. And he also said that although it doesn't look like what you may think it should, you understand that it's what the Lord is doing. Everything is for his purpose. Everything has a purpose. Every single thing. And we often try to manipulate situations by putting our hands in it, knowing that the Lord is already working. And we just may feel like, he's not going at our pace, but that's where you're wrong. You gotta step off of it. At the right moment, at the right time, the Lord blessed Hannah. He blessed Hannah. He brought that promise. He didn't bring just that promise. He brought more. And that is the same with you all, with me. He brings more, but it includes you being patient. You have to be patient. And I don't think we understand that the Lord is very patient with us. There are so many times that we try to take things into our own matters in our own hands. And what does he do? He forgives us. He forgives us. And yet he still tells us, daughter, your promise is still right here. Daughter, I'm still bringing it. Son, I'm still doing it. However, we get in our own way. We get in our own way. We slow down the process of our own blessings. And I don't think people realize that. So like the Lord is saying, he spoke in my notes. He told me, just be patient. And no matter what it looks like, just continue to stand. Continue to stand. And when you're standing, understand that means that you are believing. You are believing that the Lord is going to do the thing that he has spoken to you. And he said you will see his goodness. You'll see the goodness of his hand. His chosen ones will see the goodness of his hand. And he said you'll see it. And he added this part and then referenced Elizabeth. And he said, when it arrives, you'll feel those kicks inside. When Mary went to visit Elizabeth felt those kicks. The baby just had so much joy and was flipping. So it's the same. The Lord is saying that when it arrives, you'll feel those kicks inside. And again, he just continued to say, don't be pungent. Don't criticize. Don't have that humor. Don't mock. Don't make fun of, because what he's doing for you, he's doing it. He's bringing it. However, he's going to take care of those that mistreated you. He's going to take care of them. Don't put your hands on it. Don't think just because, don't think that though that's considered your bragging rights. Your bragging rights are in the promise. The Lord delivered the promise. The bragging rights belong to the Lord because he gets the glory. He gets the glory. So, I think that's all I have for this part. And he says, don't get ahead of yourselves, be patient. And he believes in you. The Lord he believes in you. He chose you. And he's saying that, he said he knows that you'll do well. He knows that you'll do well when you receive the promise, but continue to remember him. Continue to keep your focus on him. Know that the Lord will not lie to you. And he says, mark my word. You'll see, keep going. And he's with you. Remain loyal to him. I'm just worried about this thing popping back up again. But, yeah, so I think that is all I have for right now. Yes, and I almost left this part out. And he said, expect communication from these people that have strayed away from you. Expect communication. Expect them to come back to you with apologies. Yes, expect them to come back with apologies. He said apologies are coming soon. And forgive, because the Lord forgives you. The Lord forgives us. We're not perfect. We're not perfect at all. We serve a perfect God, and no matter how many times we fall short, he's there. No matter how many times, some days, we don't wake up every day feeling like, oh, today is going to be such a beautiful day. The sun is shining. I think I'll just, hum on through the neighborhood like Mr. Rogers. No, we don't all wake up like that. However, the Lord is just saying, be thankful, be grateful for where he has you. Be grateful for what he's doing in your life. Things could always be worse for you. And although you may be going through a tough time, just thank him. Just say thank you. Say thank you, Lord. Say thank you. Even if you have to sit down days that you're just not feeling so great. Sit down and just reflect on where he's brought you from. Where he's brought you from. And focus on where he's taking you, where he told you he's taking you, what he told you he's going to do. So, that's all I have. And I hope, I pray that this has, that it touches someone. And I'm not sure when he'll have me release another word, but um, he gave me this. It started last night and went over to this morning. But I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Excuse me. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your weekend. And just stay blessed and stay in his presence. Bye.